Hello and welcome for this discovery session. Today we'll be talking about quality appraisal, so integrated audit management system. How can you achieve organizational excellence by maximizing internal audits and efficiency? So QApp, or Quality Appraisal by Quigest, is to empower organizations like yours to thrive in the ever-evolving business landscape. So we understand the challenges that accompany management audits. They're time-consuming, they're complex in data collection, and they struggle to transform insights into actionable strategies. That's why we invested our expertise and innovation to develop this app and not only streamline the process of auditing, but also enhance the impact on our organization. So we're happy to introduce you QApp. So it's an all-in-one solution for conducting comprehensive and effective management audits. So it's designed with the utmost precision and user centricity. Our app captures the unique needs of the normal modern day business and ensure that every audit is conducted with precision and ease in the process. We believe there are a couple of game changers when using QApp. Let's look at the first of all and foremost is today there are a lot of different standards with different procedures. So we can have ISO, CMMI, PCI, regulation, legislation, COBIT, Council, PCI. So there's of course the ISOs. There's a lot of different procedures and standards that we need to comply with. And not all solutions can be flexible enough to be independent of the referential that they're using. And that's one of the advantages. The second one would be that it's a normative requirements overlap, each other, and sometimes you have to audit twice, which would not make sense. So even though you can be in the same audit, you can automatically with one evidence be doing ISO, CMMI, or any other regulation or legislation that you're auditing. So you audit evidence, not actually the referrals, because those standards is something that the system will do by itself. The other thing is that it's optimized to map internal procedures against your controls or your standards. So it's your database of knowledge and not a standard one for ISO or something else. So the focus of the process is on your mapping your procedures, and with those evidence, then they correlate with the that exists. It can be decentralized. That means that you can involve multiple stakeholders and not just audit teams. In that way, you can have a more broad decentralization of the tasks that need to be run, either doing an internal or external auditing. Also automation, so generation automatically of checklists, finding times and mapping those times with the requirements and criteria for the audit scope. And this would in a way, reduce the costs associated, but also the audit time that you will need to make. The other aspect is it's basically an asset. So you're able to, departments can gain objective insight on the implications of what they do, and quality and top management teams, they will have a systemized and a well-founded procedures that can easily identify any risks or complications for non-compliances. As a 7 aspects, we want to focus on guarantee optimization. So avoid omissions, avoid duplication, redundancy, and consistency, since we're auditing your internal processes and the evidence that they should be mapping, and ensuring that then those evidence, they can be mapped to multiple procedures or multiple references or standards, ISOs and so forth. And this strengthens the process of continuation improvement of procedures, also their effectiveness and efficiency as well. And for those of you who have done audits before, we know there's a planning portion of it that's covered by the app. So all these aspects are things that are crucial for the applications or planning. So include the catalog of the audits that are needed, the annual audit program, contributions from multiple auditors, then execution, the criterias, if it's a normative, it's a regulatory, if it's an internal audit, reports that you would use also for like audit plans or audit reports, KPIs or indicators, how many audits that we've done, how many non-conformities that we have, how many improvements, opportunities was it register, of course execution as well, monitoring the findings, test based on testing procedures defined by the user, doing multiple requirements at the same time. Then notifications for these processes like evidence requests or evidence to be verified. And in the end, the closing, the follow-up. So consolidate all the findings, final reports and action plan for effective assessments. And this is all controlled with, multiple access profiles levels and ensure that there's a level of confidentiality and access profiles. Into seeing the actual system in live. So I'm just going to be logging into the system as a user that's actually a power user here in this case, and we're going to be looking at audit. So my dashboard is the first thing that I see. I see, how many non-conformities I have, audits that have been done in which locations. I can start a new audit plan if I want to. And here we have the steps at the top, like workflow. We're just creating an internal audit right now. As an example for the demo today. So we have the first part is selecting the type, when is the period that it's going to be happening, what are the goals or the objectives for this particular audit trail. So then we'll move over to the scope. So we've configured the general information and we'll move over to the next step, which is the scope. So we'll just define here just an example of the description of the scope, which methodology are we going to be using, and also if we are going to be identifying any constraints also on the solution. So here we were filling the scope, methodology, and constraints. The next step will be the audit universe. So what I'm going to be auditing. So is it a project? Is it a control? In this case, we selected control, and we are doing a statement of applicability. So a SOA. I'm going to select which criteria we're going to be using, and if we're auditing all the requirements or particular requirements of that referential or that ISO. So in this case, we're doing everything from 27001, so security auditing. We'll be choosing the next step would be the auditor and what the role the person is going to be having. And we can select multiple persons like a technical expert, the audit coordinator, for example, observers as well, if we have external observers. So whatever is part of the audit team. And next we'll go into documents, which we can just move forward, and then the final approval of the plan. So here we can actually see that we've done in small steps, we've created an audit plan, and we're able to create that audit process as well. So this was just a brief demonstration of that part of the auditing. Then we move over to the actual execution of the audit. So during the execution of the audit, I can check that process and see, okay, these are all the scopes that I'm going to be auditing, and I'm just going to be selecting the evidence. So in this case, I can say, okay, I've noticed the evidence is non-compliant, identify the risk, what's the risk, in this case the strategy risk, and my finding in particular. So the audit team, did not find the document, for example, that they were looking for, or required based on this particular control that was requested of inputs and outputs from the management review document. So this is just one example that we've looked into the process and we just defined one evidence. And by saving this, we will be automatically complying with everything that it's based on that evidence. So all requirements that are based on that evidence would be automatically non-compliant on this case, because that's the example that we did. So here we can see another example of one, and we can do like corrective actions for follow-up as well. So that's also possible. Here we can do a follow-up to see when it's estimated, when's the next corrective actions or effective evaluation that it's going to be done. And also if there's any evidence that needs to be added to that follow-up plan for that non-compliance. And I'm just going to be logging out right now and logging in as from the application. So this was just a brief demonstration of a product. If you're interested and you want to know more, just please let us know, and you can check our website and check other discovery demos as well. Thank you so much, and see you in the next discovery.